Hey, happy Wednesday, Alex. I want to thank you so much for taking time out. I know you're extremely busy. Probably one of the biggest buzzwords in the industry, whether it's Josh or Alex and Josh. I see you're all over the place, and it's really, really cool to have you on the Home Tech Heroes podcast.
I appreciate it.
Oh, please. So, I just want to know personal, like what got you into the industry? Maybe some ups and downs, and I'll have some questions as we go along the way. But please introduce yourself and let those who don't know you yet know you.
Sure. Well, it's an honor to be here. And I appreciate that you remember that my name is not Josh. A lot of people definitely get that confused. So for those who don't know me, my name is Alex Capecelatro, co-founder, CEO of Josh.ai. Josh is a privacy-focused voice control platform, really trying to figure out how to advance the state-of-the-art on user interfaces, design, simplicity, and AI throughout the home. Very fortunate at this point to work with many, many great partners, everyone from Snap, Control 4, Crestron, Lutron, Sonos, Sony, you name it. We've got so many amazing partners. But to answer your question, Rob, about getting into the industry, I don't know if you want to spend 20 minutes, 2 hours, 20 hours. We can, go as deep as you want, but I'll give the short version and then let you decide if you want to probe a little bit deeper. Sound good?
Absolutely. Thank you, Alex.
All right. So in a nutshell, we were actually just talking about, I grew up in upstate New York. And when I was growing up in sort of the early 90s, we were very lucky to have a computer in the house. Not a lot of my friends had one. Brother and I were just always building websites, building projects, doing a little bit of hacking and, not always legal stuff, but just kind of having some fun. And I just have grown up with software. I love what you can do with the web. I love what's possible. But I took a kind of a hard right turn as I got into high school where I wanted to get my hands dirty. I like to build physical things. I like to weld and build stuff and, go into the shop. And so I started at first a bike company, making handlebars, bike frames, seat posts, just learning about all that kind of stuff. And that turned into a fascination with the sciences and technology. So I started working in different chemistry labs. I spent time at NASA's Glenn Research Center, at NASA's Jet Propulsion Lab. I was at the Sandia National Lab in DC. Sandia in New Mexico. I was at the Naval Research Lab in DC. So I got to hop around a bit, spent some time at Harvard over in Massachusetts. And I just love the idea of being at the forefront of amazing technology and innovation. But what I learned and what really frustrated me is a lot of the research that I was doing for the government is confidential. I can't talk about it. I can't commercialize it. I can't really do anything with it that, is going to benefit people in a direct way. And I just got the entrepreneurial bug. I wanted to build stuff that I could go and, bring to the market, help make people's lives better. And so I started a few different companies, mostly in the software space, but a little bit in the hardware space, leading up to founding Josh. But this was sort of a different beast. When we started this company, I was renovating a home, and I think we've all been there where, you're frustrated with your integrator, with the products that are available. Something about the system isn't really feeling right. I felt like stuff was just overly complicated, hard to manage, hard to use. And I just felt like there's got to be a better way. As I was going through this experience myself, my business partner, Tim, who is a really good friend I've known for a while, Tim was building for fun a voice assistant. Think of Tim as like Tony Stark from Iron Man. I mean, he sold $1 billion business, basically the eccentric billionaire that really doesn't need to work. So what does he do at this time? He creates a voice assistant. This was before Alexa, before Google. Siri was out, but it was really not all that advanced. And so Tim and I started talking about what could we do to make the home better? What can we do with the technology that he had been developing? And at that point, he was probably, I think, 5 or 6 years into developing the engine behind what became Josh. Now the company being 6.5 years in, we've got over a decade of R&D into just the voice engine plus everything else. And so we decided we didn't want to be a hardware company. We didn't think that we needed to compete with speakers and lights and shades and all the amazing products that are out there. But we thought the missing piece was creating an intuitive, natural, easy to use interface. Think of it, like the brain of the home that is able to take in data about the state of devices, the power, looking at things like energy utility and health and wellness and all these different aspects. And how can we make the home truly a smart home? So we started the company in 2015. At that time, we had a little idea of what we were going to be building, but it was a lot of exploration. Within 6 months, we were at our first CEDIA Expo. We realized the dealer community was going to be critical to the success of what we were doing. And we also realized pretty quickly we couldn't get around building hardware. We knew that we needed to build a privacy-focused system, and putting this on top of Amazon or Google or someone else's hardware really wasn't going to get us to where we wanted to go. So we built first a product called Josh Micro. Then this year released newer products, Josh Nano, Josh Core. And so at this point, a lot of people know us as a voice assistant, but there's so much more under the hood. And again, our goal has always been, we just want to simplify the interface and give people a truly magical experience in their home.
Alex, thank you so much for spending time with us. I think we've covered it. I appreciate it. You said a couple of days, and now I can see after that brief introduction how it can go into a couple of days. The first thing I want to know, is his name really Tim?
My business partner is Tim.
Is it a disguised name? It sounds pretty secretive. That's awesome. I want to ask, what age was it that like the initial age? I know Theo, we watched the Theo Calamarakis, and he said he was 7 years old. I know I was pretty young, around that same age. Was it for you as well?
First age that what happened?
When you got into whatever that technology was like, this is cool.
So there were kind of two phases for me. I think there was the growing up with the internet. So probably 10, 11 was when I started building websites and writing code.
Wow.
But it was around the time that I was probably maybe 14 or 15, I was diagnosed with diabetes. And very quickly, as I was getting introduced to how I was going to treat it, and then modern technology like insulin pumps and glucose monitors and stuff, just realized that technology has the power to really change people's lives. If I had been born 100 years prior, it would have been a death sentence. Technology is what allows me to even live right now. And so I think that was when I really took it more serious, that this isn't just fun and games. It's not just building websites. We can build stuff that impacts people in a material way. And that's really been my passion probably since the time I was maybe 14 or 15.
And that was my next question. We'd spoken about that. And it's so interesting how you integrated and how you say technology allows you to live the life that you want to live. It's such a powerful statement. And I appreciate you talking about that. It's personal, but it does help people, like you say. And that's my next question, is how much satisfaction do you get when you meet a client that has a need that's very obscure or unique, and you're able to solve that problem? I mean, how good does that feel, and how good does your team feel?
I mean, it's one of the foundations of the business. We're not just out here trying to make money and trying to generate sales. We really are passionate about changing people's lives. And when I meet clients like the ones you're describing, whether they're vision impaired, getting older, maybe in wheelchairs, we have paraplegic clients, it's just so humbling to be part of that experience. And it's something as we grow that I want to make sure is really a critical part of the company. Because again, it's one thing to build cool gadgets, and voice control can be seen as a sexy kind of innovative thing. But I do truly believe we have the ability to help people live lives that they wouldn't otherwise be able to live. And that's a big motivator. It's a big thing that just keeps me going and keeps us really exciting.
I'm trying to process, earlier in the conversation, you mentioned a lot of brands that you integrate with. And without mentioning brands, is Josh healing or solving issues between two different brands that normally couldn't be done?
Cool. So yes, it certainly is. What I find so interesting is, for a long time across many different industries, we talk about the sort of communication protocols between devices and whether or not the new protocol is going to be adopted by everyone, whatever the new protocol of the day happens to be. And every couple of years, it's something different, and everyone gets all excited. And then people start saying everyone's going to move over to this new protocol. It often doesn't really happen that way. And so we look at Josh as kind of being that glue that says all of these different devices and systems and APIs communicate different ways. We basically want to communicate as openly as we can. So if we know that the weather API is informing us that it's going to snow, we can talk to your thermostat, API, and make sure that the thermostat's adjusted using other APIs with motion sensors and, different, kind of subsystems. There's a lot that goes into making this stuff work well. And I think one of the things that's held back the smart home is this belief that there's going to be one unified system that everyone's going to fall in line with, and it's just going to make all the integrations plug and play. Maybe that's going to happen at some point. Hasn't happened yet in my experience, and that's part of the value add that we try to provide, is saying, look, things are not plug and play, but we're going to make them as integratable as possible.
I hate to repeat anything you're saying or I'm saying, and my thing with Josh has always been privacy. I mean, I love that, especially the affluent clientele you guys target now, dealers take care of. But after you mentioned this part of it, I mean, to get control system A to work with lighting system B that works with door lock C, if you can bring that all together, that's really, that's a value add. That's amazing. What a great point.
And it's one reason that we've invested heavily in building our own hardware. We found that this wasn't easy to do in a privacy and security focused way using off-the-shelf hardware. So we've had to build our own processors, microphones, cloud infrastructure, all to make sure that our clients' data is protected every step of the way.
I guess that's because some countries are compromised by using our security, right? So you have to build your own products in order to maintain that security. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but it's not just about that. If you have someone else's microphone, do you really know where the audio is going?
Right.
Is the package encrypted? Is it protected? Where is it going out to? We don't want our clients to be worried about anyone listening in or ads being generated based on conversations they have. We make sure that by owning the hardware and the path across the entire software spectrum, we can guarantee that the data is going to be secure and protected. And that's just not a promise we can make if it's someone else's hardware.
It's an awesome, I didn't look at that aspect of it. I just said, oh, it's private, but you never get into the details of why is it private. So I appreciate you going into detail and helping us all figure out or understand how the privacy is set. I want to skip back to, did you ever have a miserable fail and kind of laughing or kind of joking about it? I think a lot of entrepreneurs or a lot of people, even myself, Alex, you spend 2 years and you just finally that path starts to change and open as long as you have the open mind to let it open. And I'm just curious, you've had those fails or those surprise.
So I think we all have different failures that we experience, many small ones, sometimes the big catastrophic ones. In my last business, for example, we were very small for a long time, basically 3 of us, myself, my designer, and then I had sort of a full stack web developer who was helping us building the web application. The day before we closed a big funding round and had a big launch and things started going well, the technology guy gave notice and it was tough, but I said, I can't make him stay. We're going to deal with this. And that was sort of the first, hurdle. But then 2 years later, as we triumphed, we had a lot of success. We got through all the growing pains. He came back and sued us, claiming that he owned half the business, which he didn't own. And that was difficult to process. That was difficult just because, if he had stayed around, it might've been a different story, but, having to work on, and everyone here who owns a business, what it's like when you lose a co-founder, you lose a tech, you lose a salesperson, and to get through that and to still figure out how to be successful. It's 7-day work weeks, it's sleepless nights, it's really putting everything into it. And that was difficult, but at the end of the day, those types of things happen. In this company, we had a different thing that happened, which was difficult at the time, but necessary. We started off with the plan of being a pure software company. And so that meant that we were hiring people that were really good at writing software, people that, had the right experience for what we needed. But when we realized fairly early on that we needed to start building hardware, a number of folks that worked with us got scared. They said, we don't know how to build hardware. We haven't done this, we're not sure this is even possible. And the net result is we had a bunch of people that were really kind of sour on the culture, very pessimistic, and then ultimately left or were let go at different times during that process. And it gave room for us to hire the right people and build the right team. But in the meantime, we're, a growing business that even in the early days had a lot of attention, a lot of, good press. People were excited about what we were doing. To have to sort of retool the team, keep things moving, stay positive. That was a fairly dark time. The great thing though is we went from thinking about building hardware to shipping hardware in 14 months. And so it didn't last for too long. And by the time we were shipping 14 months later, we had won awards. We had, great coverage of the hardware. And it really allowed us to get to that next stage. And so I think what I learned, and pretty much every entrepreneur out there learns, people are not always going to buy into your vision. They're not always going to believe what you're trying to do. I think we see it with, people like Elon Musk trying to build rockets, lots of naysayers in the beginning. For us, as Amazon and Google started coming out with their products, we had to really convince people, look, we can not only take them on, but we're doing something different. Amazon and Google's voice products serve a very specific and valuable part of the market need, but they're different than what we're trying to solve. And that took, a number of years for people to kind of watch and listen and follow and see, are we for real? But now at this point, we've been around for a long enough time. We've kind of proven that we've got a great product, great integrations, great value add. We can help dealers, we can help clients. It's really helped get through a bunch of those difficult times. But I will say, you have to deal with just time after time, whether it's a journalist in the press or a customer or a dealer or whoever it happens to be, someone saying, why are you even bothering? You can't take on these other companies. You're not going to succeed. You just kind of have to keep your head down and keep pushing forward. Because at the end of the day, I believe, from day one that what we're building is valuable, it's needed, and it's, the right vision for the future that I want to create. And I think, for us, just staying true to that vision has been the best thing.
It's, you are such a kind person. And I'm sure some of those write-ups or things that happen, they completely paralyze you sometimes. Like you said, you lose sleepless nights. And I guess sometimes at weeks at a time, and it's nice to know that it's not always what we read about in the magazines, or we always see the good things happening. And you started in 2014, you said?
2015.
2015. And how long did it take to get some recognition? I think you guys are an exception now.
Thank you. We exhibited our first demo that fall at the CEDIA Business Exchange. And it was interesting because it was the first time we got recognition, but it was a mixed bag. It was a combination of some good stuff because what we had demoing was pretty powerful, but also some real naysayers. And the interesting thing, folks like Julie Jacobson and Rich Green and whatnot were skeptical in the beginning, have since become really good friends. And so we were lucky that there was some, eyeballs and attention on us from the beginning, but it wasn't all positive. And I think one of the aspects we learned about this channel and this industry, there are a lot of companies that come in and just want, a sales channel. They want people to sell what they do. And then they disappear, or they go out of business, or the companies or products get acquired. We had to show that we were really here to stay. So we teach courses at CEDIA and ISC, got involved with different organizations and boards, buying groups, all sorts of stuff. And, it takes time to really show people we're not just, here trying to take advantage of the community, but we're trying to give back and we're trying to be a vital part of it. And I would say that probably took a good 4, maybe 5 years before it started to really work, that people understood we really do care about the channel. We care about helping to make sure that, the tides rise everyone. We want clients to have a better experience, dealers to have better products to sell, better margins, better profit. We want distributors to have a component, buying groups, the press. We want everyone to feel like the industry is growing and thriving. And it takes time to be valued as a part of that community.
From the outside looking in, I can attest, I guess, from many people that over the 6 years or the 7 years it's been, you see those milestones that you guys hit. And right now it's probably, I don't know, from my point of view, it's the biggest and highest that I've ever seen for Josh in the last 6 months, I guess. So, if you need some positive energy from me, you're doing unbelievable stuff in the industry. It's awesome to see. So last question is, where are we going from here? What's whether it's Josh, or you just seen something in tech last week or 2 months ago, or something that really interests you?
Yeah, so I think COVID is accelerating a couple trends that I've been thinking about for a long time now. And it's creating an opportunity for the entire industry and the channel that I'm excited about. And the opportunity is this. We have a hybrid sort of set of, I guess I'll call them markets, all combining in the home. And so this is work from home, right? COVID sort of spurred this, but it was already happening. The idea of people not wanting to go to an office, it's work out from home. So home gyms, products like Peloton and Mirror, that's growing. it's home wellness, the idea of how do we create, sort of yoga stations, meditation stations, the idea of the home being a place that helps you live better and live more healthy. So circadian lighting, indoor air quality sensors, all that good stuff. And then also the way that I think home entertainment is evolving. All of this is basically changing what the home means and the reason that the home is so important. I would say prior to COVID, we started to have this interesting trend where Airbnb was really introducing the idea of people saying, well, I don't really even need to have a home. Maybe I want to go and spend a month at the beach, just spend a month, in Europe, spend a month, skiing, whatever it happens to be. And I think what we're seeing now is all of these different disciplines are coalescing on the home. And we're also seeing that these technologies are helping with the real estate sale of the home, even the sort of rentability of the home. And so we're seeing some amazing opportunities where Gordon Van Zuyden in the Bay Area with Cyber Manor, he's basically Airbnb-ing his home as like the most tech savvy home with Josh right there in the middle and Control4 and other products that are helping to boost it up. And then on the other side, we're seeing the home that we shot the Josh keynote at just sold for something like $80 million. And this home is decked out with some of the best technology out there. And so I think what we're seeing is the need for technology in the home is going up. People's trust in it is also increasing, which I hope we're part of that because it's
thanks to Josh.
A big thing we're trying to push on. And so the notion of how do we create better work from home environments, workout from home environments, relax at home environments that are just really helping people be happy, be relaxed, lower their stress. And then the last piece of this, which I think is part of the whole equation, the rise of NFTs and digital artwork is something that I think is really, really helping the homes become more personal. The idea of your living room in the morning can be one type of artwork. When you have a dinner party, it can change to something else throughout the year. Maybe it's holiday themed in December. That notion is, I think it's been an exciting part of the home for a while with stuff like the Samsung Frame TV and what Barco's been doing. But I think it's growing at such a rapid rate that 2022, we're going to see many more clients investing in NFTs, investing in digital artwork, and our ability to make that part of your home office, your home wellness, your home, workout. It's going to be a real thing that's going to be hitting pretty quickly.
The expanse of your mind and how you take all this, the NFTs was a surprise. I didn't think that would come up in any way, but very, very good. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to try and process this and absorb it myself. Hopefully everybody out there enjoys this podcast and learning about you personally and the privacy, which is awesome to learn about the details and everything else you've given us today, Alex. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you for doing this. I love this concept of the podcast and super excited to see who you bring on next.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll keep you posted, man.